TBTL Week in Review.
Hey, it's the Week in Review, where Andrew and I are joined by a listener to review or get a sort of fuller explanation about something that went on during the week's TBTL. I feel a little bit like Clint Eastwood right now, Andrew, interviewing a chair. Because
thank you. That's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me.
You're not the chair.
I know.
You're not the chair. The chair is where our friend, I'll just say it, our friend Summer was going to be, because Summer is somebody who knows all about astronomy and was going to jump in and talk to us, or at least, ask questions, because we like to answer astronomy questions about the solar eclipse to a person who actually knows about it from a scientific standpoint. That was the plan for this week. Turns out when you're out at some kind of like array, some sort of telescopic array in the middle of nowhere, while they can see through time, through the fabric of time, Andrew, their internet connection is a little on the slow side.
Yes.
So we ran into some technical snafus this week. We're getting those worked out. We're going to have our friend Summer on very soon for the Week in Review. But here we are, face to face, a couple of podcasters reviewing our own week. Has there ever been anything more TBTL?
We had to make the decision very, very quickly to move forward with this, because you are running out to catch a flight right now. And I got to be honest with you. And if Summer hears this or sees this, it could potentially break her heart. So I need to choose my words carefully. But in a certain way, and I'm really looking forward to having Summer on another show, but I am so embarrassed about my conversation around the eclipse on Monday. Was that Monday? Yeah. That it's almost like I'm dodging a bullet here, because I feel like that might have been real phone throwy. Remember when I was trying to describe
I have to ask, why were you so embarrassed about that?
Look at us. We're reviewing the week.
Yes, we are.
TBTL, we're doing it better than a chair. I was trying to remember I know now also that you had some other things going on that you were getting emails and stuff about. And so I think Monday we maybe weren't communicating all that well anyway. And I was describing that effect of the shadows that are cast by the sun when it's filtered through leaves or something. And you had said, oh, yeah, when you put the colander out. But I didn't know about the colander thing. I just knew about the shadows. And we just went back and forth. And I'm like, well, why can't I recreate it with a light bulb? Or I just it was so unhelpful, and the whole point of that show was us to be talking and making fun of ourselves about the last time we tried to cover an eclipse, and then I'm in here trying to Science Friday it up. Although the moment with the coins was pretty good.
I have to say, first of all, I hadn't gotten my distressing email about a different work situation until well after that conversation, so I want you to know that wasn't distracting me. I
was giving you cover.
I was 100% paying attention and trying to follow what you were talking about.
Okay, so I was giving myself cover, not
yes,
you.
I want everyone to know who the cover was being given to.
Yes.
It was you.
Yes.
No. I felt like, though, at the end of that little digression, I understood what you were talking about, and it actually made me wonder as well, which was how it is. And, of course, had we been somewhere that was in the path of totality, we could have tested this theory. But I guess what I want to say to you is, by the end of that conversation about shining light through a, colander or, spaghetti strainer or whatever you want to call it, I understood what your question was. We don't have an answer to your question, but I understood what your question was. I don't think that was as confusing and meandering as you're feeling like it was. But I also would like to say that the moment of you putting the TBTL coins together and me playing the music and me having my double sunglasses going, it made for good Instagram content.
That's right.
And that's really
the important thing.
This is a podcast that exists to generate short clips of Instagram content that are viewed by some number of people. There's one problem with that video, though, which is because it's just a snapshot, because it's just a quick moment from the show. I don't think in that video I ever say I'm putting on 2 pairs of sunglasses, and I don't think you can really tell from the video. It just looks like I'm wearing those novelty sunglasses you get at the state fair.
They definitely look goofy.
Well, yes,
if that's
they
what
look goofy, but I feel like some of the nuance is lost, that I was trying to use good eye protection, that I was They blend together more than I expected, and they just look like I look like a demented Harry Carey, which is not what I'm trying to do on these videos.
Okay, and now I want to be very careful about this, and I haven't gone back and listened yet, but it turns out I might have been right about something on that show, too, which unfortunately puts you in the position of being wrong. And I feel like there's some sensitivity about that recently. There have been a couple of things, I think, off-air where I've said something like, I remember it this way, and you're like, I don't know, man. I can't even trust myself anymore. I can't. So I'm not trying to pile on or make you feel like your brain is broken, but I did hear from some listeners who said that I was right in that we included the sound of you, quote unquote, tacoing the plant stand in that original Eclipse show we did back in 2017. And I'm going to try this here. I think
Okay,
you'll be
if
able
you
to
can
hear
find
this.
it, because I saw some of those emails, and I listened to at least the first 10 minutes, I thought, of the episode, and I heard us talking about tacoing the thing. I don't, somehow either I worked out or I didn't listen long enough to hear the actual sound of wheel hitting planter box. So I'm curious.
Here's what I'm going to guess. And I haven't gone back and listened to this, and unfortunately I don't have the email in front of me, but I know at least one person said it happens around the 2 minute.
See, I listened
mark
past
of that.
two. Well, maybe I didn't.
We'll
You know
go to
what?
the tape.
I'm looking forward to being wrong about this, because I'd be curious to hear what it sounded like. So,
well, here's what, and again, this I haven't gone back and reviewed the tape recently, but my memory from 2017, which is basically not existent, I don't remember things that long ago. Oh, goldfish! I remember talking to you about it at the time and like, do we include it or do we not? Because it wasn't a spectacular crash sound. It's me with a shotgun microphone, which is, you know what that means. It doesn't get that much of a range in the cab of the truck with you or something like that. And so it's not a huge sound. So I'm going to start playing this. This is our episode from 2017, right? Yeah, August 21st, 2017. Episode 2450, Captain Daddy and the Rude Dog.
decent.
I'm starting
show
this
title.
about a minute 45 in, and I think this is before the show officially starts. This is still sort of our dry intro, and hopefully in the next 45 seconds we'll hear the sound of some sort of crash. Did the boat fix-it guy tell you how to do that?
Yeah, dude, we're golden.
You know what?
So now we're gonna head out.
I think right when I said we're golden is when I decided to skip forward.
When
I mean,
we
seriously.
can't even listen to our own show.
No, you
it's
know
like,
what
God,
I was.
when does it get
I
good?
think I was trying to figure out. Did we do like the normal TBTL music intro? Is this all just preamble to the top of the show? And then I just figured, I guess we didn't, and then I just moved on. So okay, now I'm tuned in.
Okay. Well, again, I'm interested in this not to prove a point here, honestly. I'm not trying to be like, Luke was wrong. I'm just interested in what this sounds like, because my memory of it was being a little underwhelmed by it. But let's hear.
That's right. And the other things that got to break our way are we can't get pulled over because the trailer lights don't work.
I remember
the
this
trailer
part.
tabs are expired, and the tabs on the boat are expired. And I've also never tried to put this boat in the water at this particular place. So there's a whole backing it down into the water situation that is going to be really touch and go. So when I say that the battery working means we're okay, it just means we've made it to the next level of this video game called life.
When's the next eclipse?
Profound. Okay.
Do you have your Eclipse glasses?
I do. Thank you for asking, though, because now we're past the 2 minute 36.
I've listened up to this part. I
Forgetting
remember
about the
this
sun
part.
disappearing.
I saw a bunch of people posting stuff on Twitter this morning reminding people to not look directly at the sun during the eclipse because of the
You're gonna miss your flight.
burning of the retina that we talked about. And so shit.
TBTL. It was better than I thought.
That's
I'm glad
good
we did
radio,
this.
dude.
As it kept going, I'm just like, oh no, now I'm ruining the week in review. We ruined the show in 2017. I ruined the show on Monday. But
that
no.
paid off.
Let's see here.
Can you back that up? Can we hear that again, please?
Back that up. Yeah, I'm going to try that one more time here. I don't want to do it
I
want
to mention that this is also a first for the Week in Review, where we've actually played the tape. I don't think we usually do this.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This should just be us. We should just do this week in and week out. I think we're good at it.
Sorry, I went back too far. It's a little tough to navigate.
Do you have
this.
your Eclipse glasses?
I do. Thank you for asking, though, because I kind of keep on thinking about the podcast, and I keep forgetting about the sun disappearing.
I saw a bunch of people posting stuff on Twitter this morning reminding people to not look directly at the sun during the eclipse because of the sort of burning of the retina that we talked about. And so shit.
That's really good production.
Now I'm proud of us again.
That's great production. The TBTL right on the heels of that. I mean, honestly, that's I'm impressed. Everything else about the episode was mid, and that's I'm giving myself. Also, how much whiskey did I drink the night before? Or it's either allergies.
Both of us. I was going to say both
Did
of
you
us sound
stay
like we were
over?
drinking. Yeah, I think I stayed over. I could hear in both. Before I heard your voice, I heard mine. I was like, "Oh, Andy was drinking last night." I heard that too.
Goodness gracious! Yeah, I must have been putting them back because I sound like just absolute. I sound like I sandpapered my vocal cords. But
yeah, gargling with gravel. Yeah.
Let's go back though to the I guess the W for us, which was wow. That's very compelling. It's very
good
compelling.
sound.
It's really good sound. And what I can hear in my own voice there through all the hangover is real terror at what I've just done.
Yes.
Because I know that I am, and I'm not framing this as like I'm in for it with the wife, but just kind of like I've made a mistake here that's going to be financially expensive to fix, and also it's going to cost me some relationship capital. That I decided to do this, but I didn't do this in a way that was careful, which tends to be a theme for me. So I stand corrected, Andrew. I want to apologize to you. I want to apologize to the listeners. I want to apologize to Rudy. And but I want to say, overall, this is a net positive to me because that's good radio.
Yeah, it actually is good sound. Yeah, so we just did a long, dry open until that, and then
that should have been the end of the show.
You come back and you explain what just happened. But yeah, if I were listening to that, I would be on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
What the hell just happened? So good for us.
That is good. I'll take that correction.
Glad we did that.
Another thing I can review from this week is somebody reached out on Instagram. I'll see if I can find this, and they clarified for me that it's not. I keep calling them Merchant and Ivory films. That's my go-to for like a very reserved, very kind of,
period piece.
A period piece. I always say with like Anthony Hopkins in it, where he's playing some kind of a butler who can never show his true feelings or whatever. Mm-hmm. Somebody who I think is maybe named Ben on Instagram said, "Hey Luke, the film company is Merchant Ivory, not Merchant and Ivory.
Yeah, that's
peace and love, peace and love." And I said, I would be so annoyed by this clarification if it wasn't the exact kind of thing I love to clarify for people. And Ben said, I am the exact same way. So Merchant Ivory, duly noted.
And let me throw a correction. Somebody corrected me yesterday. It's our friend, listener Max, who is an actor, and I believe a guest on this very video series. And I got something wrong when we were talking on Wednesday or Thursday's show, and we're talking about the word hysterical and how I said that was a term that came from, like, it has sexist roots because it was describing a woman who was acting, basically showing any kind of emotion, basically, back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And I think the word histo or hist comes from, like, the Greek to mean uterus or womb. So that's why it's also, like, that's why hysterectomy and hysteria both start with that same thing. And I also said histrionics, and I threw that in there as well, assuming that histrionics was related to hysteria. Listener Max says, I'm rarely one for corrections, but I had to let you know that histrionic has nothing to do with misogyny. It's not spelled that way. Now I'm kind of half reading and half throwing in my own thoughts, but it's not spelled that way. Histrionic is spelled H-I, histrionic.
I always thought that.
Y.
I thought it was kind of like this, but I don't understand how it would be related to history. But I remember seeing the word and thinking, is it a history thing?
Histrio is related to the word actor, the Latin root actor.
Which is why Max knows about
dramatic, exactly, and acting dramatic and over the top. It's histrionics. It comes from the stage, Luke. So I was right about some of that stuff, but I took it too far. I took it too far when I went to histrionics.
It's what always happens for me on the show, which is I get a subtle win because I've actually remembered something, whether it's a baseball player's name or whatever, and then I can't leave it alone. I get high off of the experience of knowing something, and then I try to talk about something that's just out past the edge of my knowledge, and that's when I get in some real trouble.
And the next thing you know, you're stealing $14 million from me to pay your gambling debts.
Would that be the end of our not professional collaboration? Because I feel like that's a given. I just don't think this show could sustain a $14 million shortfall. Would it be the end of our...
I can guarantee you that. Can you imagine
How much you
running
make? But
had
our
a 14
friendship, I mean, I think that would
Yeah.
be tough to bounce back from, I think.
Like if you were pulling from the TBTB coffers or
I
somehow
mean-
even funneling money from my personal bank account.
Well, I mean, I guess that would be more analogous to what happened with Otani
Yeah.
and his interpreter was, I mean, it wasn't even like he was stealing it from the Dodgers. He was stealing it from Otani. Like, that's such a personal. I do feel like the way the story goes, though, is you've been stealing from me because it's obvious I'm the first suspect because I talk about gambling. I talk about bad decision making. Like, I seem like I'm pretty fast and loose with a lot of stuff. But the real real plot twist would be it was Mr. Responsible. It was Andrew all along.
Yeah.
That seems like the more interesting way for this to go.
And I'm stealing from you in this situation. What am I spending it
And
on,
also,
though?
where are you finding this money, and can I have some of it? This money you're stealing from me. First of all,
Right.
amazing that you've
Yeah.
located some. That's news
Yep.
to me. And also, can I have some of my money you're stealing from me because I could use it?
Yeah, you didn't even know you had it. I think I should keep half. But
Hey, that's
as
fair.
always, or as often
but
is
fair.
the case, I am now more worried about your flight than you are.
Thank
I'm
you.
looking at the clock,
I
and I
appreciate
want
that.
I want you to make that flight.
Well, thank you. And this was actually fun.
It was.
For it being a thrown together last minute kind of solve for the fact that we don't have our typical week in review thing, this actually was kind of interesting. So the good news is we now know that this is also a possibility.
The good news is we know that we can do some banter together. So
We
if
are
we
capable
ever wanted
of
to
bantering.
do that
Yes.
professionally, we should think about
But we're
it.
able to re-banter about the bantering we've already done during a given
Yeah.
week, and that can work. So that's good. All right. Well, listen, thank you, everyone, for supporting TBTL. Thanks for subscribing and donating and receiving and watching and enjoying this Week in Review video, and for telling your friends that your life was changed when you saw it, because that's how good it was. Andrew, thank you, as always. And
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back next week in some formation of us and maybe a listener to review the week once again. In the meantime, have a great week, and thanks so much.